The endocrine glands provide the outer form of manifestation of the seven spirits, the seven aspects of spirit in your own body, in relationship to the physical functions of your own being. We've considered something of the seven spirits before the throne of God, and you'll be studying more of this as you go along. But until you begin to realize that the focalization of the seven spirits through your own body provide the opportunity for a basic control pattern, you cannot possibly come into proper attunement with the divine source and function effectively. And so, as long as the blood sugar level is not correct, the endocrine system is not going to be functioning correctly, the life force is not going to be manifesting correctly through you, the seven spirits before the throne of God are not adequately active in the earth of your own body. And until that is taken care of, at least to a degree in relationship to yourself, you cannot inspire others to do likewise. And until we recognize that the seven spirits before the throne of God are necessary from the standpoint of the individual, from the standpoint of the group, from the standpoint of the whole Christ body and the whole of humanity, we are not going to be making very much progress, no matter what knowledge or information one may store within oneself. We remember in this story of Moses that when Moses fled from Egypt and went to the land of Midian, that through outworking of events, he became acquainted with the 7 daughters of the priest of Midian. And so finally, of that priest himself, Jethro. And here again we have the same pattern of vibrational factors. Whether we consider the creative triangle in the universe, which provides the base for our function and provided the base for the creation of this world, from Orion to the Pleiades, or whether we consider the story here at the time of Moses, whether we see the 7 sisters of the Pleiades or the 7 sisters, the daughters of Jethro, whether we see the 7 days of the week in the pattern of creation, or the 7 days of the week as we commemorate those factors now, wherever we turn, we see evidences of this basic 7, the 7 that finds focalization in your own body in the endocrine system. And every body that is to have any meaning and life and force must have the 7 spirits before the throne of God. That's true of a group as much as it is of an individual. For anyone who doesn't understand these basic patterns and ignores them, attempting to develop and formulate a true group on earth will never succeed. It can't be done. One of the things that we need to realize is that humanity has for so long mistaken knowledge or information for functional realization. We need to recognize that the individual who undertakes to achieve some great purpose by gathering information to himself, getting knowledge, he's going to accomplish something, never succeeds because he doesn't share effectively and properly in the current of God's giving. And we need to begin to realize that it is only as we recognize the principles of the 7 spirits before the throne of God, the principle of focalization of those spirits, the principles of focalization in the whole pattern of being, that we can begin to consider these things and develop a conscious awareness of them in a manner which will intelligently perceive the workings of the Spirit of God. Getting the knowledge as such is not the goal or the purpose here or anywhere. There has to be the establishment of a certain awareness of fundamental facts and truths of being. Information, if you want to call it that. But if it stops there, it accomplishes nothing, whether it's information I present to you or someone else. It has to be a means by which your consciousness becomes aware in realization of the working of the Spirit of God, so that you can comprehend that Spirit, comprehend and correctly interpret the influences of the Spirit. Because impulses are going to be interpreted on the basis of the individual concepts. And when the individual concepts are not shaped to the truth, the personal response to the impulse of the Spirit of God will cause that person to do the wrong thing. Once you begin to see that, you will understand why the world is in the state it is, and why human beings have failed for so long to have any real outworking of the spiritual life. Until you have an awareness of the truth as such, and a consciousness which can begin to comprehend the significance and the meanings of the Spirit of God, you have no way of translating the impulses of the Spirit of God into the right pattern of action. So, we have training periods and class periods for that purpose. But if the individual has concepts which are not of the truth, beliefs which he may sincerely hold, but they're not the truth, then the impulse of the Spirit working through that person will cause him to act on the basis of his beliefs, not on the basis of the truth. And he'll do the wrong thing under the influence of the Spirit of God. And that's where so many good, sincere people have failed. They didn't know the difference. We do not condemn them for that, because, broadly speaking, insofar as the present moment, pattern of the moment is concerned, they haven't had a chance to know the difference. Nobody ever told them. They never had a chance to really come face to face with the truth, in a sense that would permit them to recognize it. There have been plenty of opportunities in the past, but we're dealing in the present now. And we need to begin to realize that merely because a person feels the impulse of the Spirit of God, and because he translates that impulse into action on the basis of his beliefs, is no sign that he is doing the will of God. He may believe ever so sincerely that he is, but he's not. He's violating the will of God. For until the consciousness is changed from its wrong patterns of beliefs and concepts, it cannot know the truth. And until you know the truth, the impulses of the Spirit of God working through you will not cause you to do the right thing. As long as there are false beliefs in your consciousness and in your heart, no matter how sincerely held, the Spirit of God working through you will cause you to do the wrong thing. And millions of earnest, sincere people are caught in that trap. That's why the Master emphasized the point, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. For until your awareness, your consciousness is patterned in truth, regardless of anything else, the impulse of the Spirit cannot cause you to do the right thing. And until we do the right thing, we're not going to be accomplishing that to which we are called. And so, this particular point of Jethro's 7 daughters has particularized significance in relationship to the things we've been considering this morning. The endocrine system of your own body, or the 7 spirits before the throne of God, at any level of outworking, formation, or focalization. Because the principles apply at every level with respect to every formation, where there is a pattern of self-consciousness. And we need to remember that. And until we begin to know that truth, we will try to ignore some aspect or other and say, well, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. but it does. And we cannot violate the basic laws of God without paying the price, no matter who it is. And then we recognized in our pattern of consideration that Moses was being called by God. And in that process of his being called, he saw what is called the burning bush. The burning bush that was not consumed. What is this burning bush? It's your own body. The burning bush is your own body. What is it that gives you the possibility of action, energy, expression? The burning of what? The energy substances in your body. Why are we concerned about blood sugar level? So that the burning of the fires in your own body will not consume your body and destroy you. Moses saw the burning bush that was not consumed. And he said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. Now that's the opportunity that's being given to you today, to turn aside from the ordinary patterns of life and begin to see why the bush is not burnt when we function correctly. When we have so become attuned to the laws of God and the principles of life that the blood sugar level is where it should be. And if that blood sugar level is not right, the bush, the body, your body, or anyone's body, is going to be consumed, and it will begin to show all of the, signs of weakness and decrepitude and illness and what have you that indicate that the body is burning up. And the fires are not functioning correctly in the body. Human beings have been afraid of the fire of God's love for so long. In a consideration of the, what might be called the mystical or certainly the symbolical portrayals of truth, you come across the idea that the human being must reach a point where he is able to enter the fire and not be burned. We have the outstanding illustration of this in relationship to the experience of those who were working with Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. How they were cast, bound, into the burning fiery furnace. Well, now, those who enter the fire on the basis of correct response to God are not burned. But those who try to function in relationship to the fire without that correct polarity, they are going to get burned. And that fire of God's love is here in relationship to every human being. And we see human beings being burned up all around us. Burned up in that fire. And human beings are afraid of it because their bodies are being burned up in it. In Revelation it's called a lake of fire and brimstone which burneth forever and ever. And you're in it. It's not something that's going to come someday, somewhere. This lake of fire and brimstone is on earth now, and you are in it, whether you know it or not. And that's the thing that is tormenting humanity or human beings all over the world. And until we learn how to walk into the flame without fear and work in the fire, we cannot accomplish that to which we are called. I don't care what the human being tries to achieve by himself and of himself, it will not work. So we begin to realize that if we are going to achieve our purpose, accomplish our goal, we must reach a point where we turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. For here you have the revelation of the same truth that comes out later in relationship to Daniel, other points in the Bible too, but we see it in the book of Revelation, the lake of fire and brimstone which burneth forever and ever. And it is here, and that fire is the fire of God's love, which torments those who fight against it. But it is cooling and soothing and gloriously beautiful for those who yield to it. What did the Lord tell Moses? Don't get too close. Your body isn't ready yet to walk into the flame. You can look at it a little bit. But he said, take off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the ground whereon thou standest is holy ground. Holy ground. When you begin to realize that the ground where the fire burns is holy ground, you realize it. You begin to know it. You recognize its sacredness. You take your shoes from off your feet. What does that signify? In preparation for the Lord's Supper, the Master washed the feet of the disciples. All the way through the biblical pattern of portrayal, the feet have been utilized as signifying the individual's basic understanding. The Master washed their feet with water. Water, the symbol of truth. The feet made bare, removing the shoes, the mental concepts, the ideas, the beliefs, the crystallized convictions of the human mind. And the Master washed their feet with water, so that their understanding might be cleansed and made pure, that they might indeed partake of the Lord's Supper with a realization of the basic principles of being. But it didn't start there. Back here at the time of Moses, we have a recognition that the Lord said to Moses, take off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the ground whereon thou standest is holy ground. We have holy ground here, because the fire is burning here. But some people don't realize it, and they don't take their shoes off their feet. Their pattern of understanding is covered with the thick crystallizations of their own beliefs. But once you begin to realize that the ground whereon thou standest is holy ground, you have no fear about taking off the shoes, symbol of human beliefs and patterns, removing it so that you can come in direct contact with the holy ground and realize that coming to know the truth, your understanding will be clothed with the truth and not the crystallized concepts that have insulated you from the real or true living of life from the standpoint of understanding. To truly understand yourself and those round about you, that you may serve God and man. And once you begin to see as Moses saw, I will turn aside and see this great sight. Why are you here? Because of that one thing you perceived in the wilderness. You didn't understand it perhaps, you didn't see it in the full sense, but you began to perceive that there was a burning bush in the wilderness, and the bush was not burnt. And it was because you followed the pattern established by Moses and said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. That's why you're here. Class dismissed.